The pandemic is hitting industries in different ways that's creating a divide. Here are the shapes of economic recovery. Since the pandemic, predictions by economists have varied, and now some are calling a K-shaped recovery. Financial advisor Carl Eggers explains.
You really have winners and you have losers. If you think about businesses, technology firms, whether it's video conferencing, hardware, software, they've actually done very, very well and are accelerating and doing better than they were before COVID. So they're actually benefiting and recovering much, much faster. You have the other side that is decelerating, which are things like cruise ships, the airlines. Those are areas of the economy, brick and mortar retailers. Those are areas of the economy that are really struggling right now. And some of that was already in place.
The haves and have-nots of corporations, but also further divide between economic classes.
If you're somebody that has financial investments, whether it's real estate or stocks and bonds, those have recovered quite nicely and are actually going up. For those that don't have the means to save in the stock market and maybe just have a bank account or a savings account, they're actually falling further behind because we do have inflation. So I would really encourage those people, take advantage of your 401k that has a match and really get invested in the stock market, because that is where the long-term growth is going to be. And you do want to be one of those beneficiaries.